Hey, buddies, welcome back to another edition of Barn Burner. It's summer. We're stretching out, and we're going to treat you to another long-form chat with a person of interest in Calgary. A reminder, this program is brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the game, it's never ordinary with Bet365. Make sure you play responsibly and be 19. Today's guest, an old pal from the AHL circuit. I failed to reach the highest levels of play-by-play, but this man has not. A year into the play-by-play job for the Calgary Flames on Sportsnet, John Abbott. Sir, it feels like it's been more than a year. It's been less than a year since you moved to Calgary?
Less than a year. It was a bit of a sprint to get here, buddy. It was just before training camp. So like September 17th of last season. And boom, just like that, one in the books.
So you're almost a year in. How is the family? How is John? How are the kids? How's the wife? How's everyone getting acclimatized to a very different city than Vancouver and Ottawa and Toronto and all the other places you guys have lived?
I'm collecting tracksuits is my joke now.
Yes.
We're loving it. It's been great. I was just saying to Jack off the air that, I was fortunate enough to work with Noodles in Ottawa, and everything he said about Calgary is exactly how it's played out. Like, it's a terrific spot for family. Yeah. We love the outdoors. Check that box.
Yeah.
Big city, but doesn't feel like a big city, which we love. Good sense of community. So yeah, we're thrilled to be here. The job was a dream gig.
Yeah.
But you want everything else to line up too, especially for, a young family. And it's been fantastic. The year's gone like that, but we feel at home already. So it's been great and nice to be on, bud.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah.
I have a lot of buddies that tune into Barn Burner. So
that's great. We can't do Barn Burner, Jack. Just correct me if I'm wrong. We can't do the show if nobody watches, right?
That is correct.
Okay, good. So tell your buddies thank you and keep watching, and then we can keep doing
Keep it rolling. They're going to skip this one with me.
With high-profile guests like John Abbott, we're only going to be able to do more shows and take less vacation, I think. Thanks for coming in. You and I go way back to, I want to say, the 12, 13, 11, 12 seasons in the American Hockey League. I was working for the Abbott Heat. You were working for the Toronto Marlies, which are a huge institution in the AHL, like a big AHL franchise. You're in the big city. Everyone's always excited to get to Toronto. And there's some other stops you'd go, I don't really know what to do. But you get to Toronto, you're like, Abbs is going to be there. Yeah, we'll go get a beer. I'm so excited to see Johnny. And now you come to my hometown of Calgary. Let's walk and wind down the road of your career and how you ended up with the Calgary Flames, because you've been through a lot of places and you've called a lot of great international hockey, NHL hockey, American League hockey. How did this whole dream begin, and where did it begin?
Well, you're taking me a long ways back at that point, but I love getting into Abbey too, because it was always good to catch up. And Toronto and Abbotsford had a couple of clashes in the playoffs at that time, and going coast to coast was pretty fun too, with Canadian matchup in the American League.
I think they had us in the same division one year. Like, 3 time zones apart. That's great.
Yeah, that was interesting. I remember going from Newfoundland to Abbotsford in a week and a half.
Oh,
so clear across the country at that point.
There's one ocean, here's the other.
Yeah, but that stuff's cool. Oh, you know what? It was, I'm sure you can relate to this. At the time when we were getting into broadcasting, community television was a bigger deal.
Oh, yeah.
And more accessible. Yeah. And that's where I cut my teeth, was Rogers TV, just local programming. They didn't care who it was. They needed bodies, right?
In what market?
It was London and St. Thomas in Ontario. Yeah. So there was a lot of intercounty baseball.
Okay.
So
OHL hockey.
OHL hockey.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, I started behind the scenes just to get my foot in the door, which was great, because you want to learn all that and earn some respect. And then you get the opportunity along the way to get in front of the camera and in front of the mic. And baseball, it was a day-night doubleheader in London with the majors, which I know doesn't mean that much, but kind of like the old cannons.
Sure.
And the first game, there was a bullpen. There was a brawl and the bullpen empty. My first game.
Okay.
And guys are throwing, and then they don't have enough players to play the second game, so the manager pitches.
Come on.
In the second game.
The manager's pitching?
Yeah.
Just throwing BP for the fellas?
That was a little crazy as my welcome into the world of baseball play-by-play, which maybe thankfully didn't pan out. But all the way back there in London, and the Knights, working around the Knights broadcast, gave me my start. I was shadowing shadowing slash, kind of the gopher guy,
Runner.
getting my feet wet. Used to finish my grade 12 days, jump into a suit. Everyone's like, what is this guy doing? And go down to, wasn't the ice house. So they're in their brand new building at the time where they are now, and do whatever I had to do. So get the press packs. I remember paying for parking for the play-by-play guy. He's like, here's not in a, egotistical way, but hey, I'm in the booth. Can you go restock
Johnny,
the
my meter? I totally for here. Can you take this?
Exactly.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
You just you want to hang around in it. You want to earn your respect, and that that time frame, I wouldn't have predicted it, but that allowed me to get to know the people in London, which allowed me to do play-by-play in Toronto when I went to school there for the old St. Michael's Majors, and it would lead me back to London to do Mustang Sports and then be play-by-play for the Knights. So it all adds up. But there's some funny stories with what a young guy looks like on the air and how nervous he is. And that was gave me a start, right?
I think those are the boom goes the dynamite moments, I believe is what those are called.
There was a few. I almost fell into a pool.
So were you, I think the notion that some people have is like, oh, if you work in media, you must not be nervous doing all. You're like, oh no, you're crazy nervous. And you're like, why am I picking this as a career? And then as time passes, you get less and less nervous. What was early broadcasting gaffes that you can recall?
Well, it is about reps for sure. And that was the good part about, one of the great things about being with Rogers at that time was, okay, they want you to be skilled and improving, but they're going to give you the chance to get better. And okay, is it a big deal in London? Sure it is, but is it the end of the world if you have a gaffe or some type of mistake? At the end of the day, not really, right? Like it's local cable. So, I can remember being a reporter in the stands at one point during my tenure there. Yeah. And the first period interview during the stoppage was with Cam Jansen's parents.
Okay.
So he had just fought. And his mom I thought maybe his dad was going to be wired.
Yeah.
His mom was like shadow boxing and like
steam coming out of her ears.
And then his dad didn't really say anything. So I'm like trying to interview both of them, and his mom's just completely fired up. So I don't even know what I asked. It like flew by. I throw back to the booth. Okay. I got one done. Second period, I'm interviewing a little Knights fan. My hand is, they put me up on the big screen at the same time, and I'm doing this. And the guy's like, why is your hand shaky?
Oh, just got bust. Thanks, buddy.
So, yeah, by the end of it, it was, I think I said we had the Molson 3 stars, and then we're in the John Labatt Center. So I get the little buzz in the ear, like, it's not the Molson 3 stars. So, yeah, you know what? You have those, you move on, you laugh at yourself. They're on somebody's reel somewhere. But
incredible
times.
How did you get to the Marlies? Was that a natural transition from the London Knights, or was there another stop along the way?
Well, London opened doors for me, both because, I mean, the Knights traditionally, even at that time, under the Hunters, they were just
powerhouse,
premier competitors every year.
Yeah.
So lots of hockey, lots of good hockey, lots of eyeballs. And Ottawa came in. Dave Schreiber, the legend, the voice they call him appropriately, was doing a lot of Sens games, but also 67s. And he couldn't be in two places at once. They needed somebody to come in and take a lion's share of the 67s games. And that led me to my first actually, legit paid gig in Ottawa, to do junior hockey, to do sports updates, to do Sens locker room,
cool.
You name it. I was doing it and loving it. So that one allowed me to get more reps, but also make a little bit of a living. And then that led to the Marlies. So that's kind of how that was my not so straight line, but fortunate places to be in.
So who would have been like, when we talk about London Knights, when you covered, or the 67s at the time, even the Sens, like who were some of the names who I remember? Like, is Corey Perry old enough that he was actually playing in London when you were there?
Yeah, he fits the bill. So we weren't I wasn't covering the Memorial Cup from a broadcast standpoint, like in the booth, but I was around it when he was playing in it. And so the first incarnation of my night stop was Dylan Hunter. I think Rick Nash had just carried over a little bit. I'm trying to, Dennis Weidman would have been
the White
there.
Dog.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you further that on, and Ottawa would have been McGann and Couture.
Okay.
Logan Couture. Tyler Toffoli would have been there as a rookie.
All right.
Yeah, so and Monahan would have been there as a rookie.
I was thinking Monahan would have been close because he was drafted, I want to
Yep.
say, around like 13 or 15.
I can't recall
but yeah.
exactly the last year, but yeah, those guys would have been, they were riding in the front of the bus with me, and they were stuck with me at the front.
Young guys.
Those 15, 16-year-old rookies.
Tyler Toffoli. Damn, boy.
Yeah.
So I bump into you in the Marlies phase. It's a big AHL outfit. I noted earlier, like the AHL, some are independently owned, some are owned by the parent clubs, but you're in the largest hockey market in the world, in Toronto, an underserved hockey market. Moscow's got like 4 teams in the K. You've got basically 3 in Greater New York. You got 2 in LA. There's 1 team in Southern Ontario, which is insane. And it's the Leafs. And so the next best thing you could be is the Leafs farm team, where there's a lot of eyes. And for people that don't like a 100-year wait list or $300 tickets, it's a great chance to watch some really good hockey. I always loved going into what at that point was Ricoh Coliseum, and a super old historic building on the exhibition grounds. But like that was a premier franchise in the American Hockey League, and they had resources a lot of other teams didn't have. And that would have been cool.
Very fortunate, would be a description, a phrase that I would use a lot during, my whole career, but certainly at that time. Willing to take a chance on a guy that had tried to put in my time, like you would have as well, and in some of the junior ranks or lower ranks, and just waiting for a spot to come open. It was actually John Bartlett moving out of that job that allowed me the chance to compete for it. And moving from Ottawa, working under Brian Kilray, the legend Hall of Famer, helped a little bit because I think everybody knew at that point I could hack it, and there was also a way that you're supposed to be on the road and different things like that.
Yeah.
So I know his name probably helped. It was the Burke regime.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I can remember sitting through the interview. Dave Poulin was the one that sat in front of me to go through the hiring process. And then at the end of it, it was Berkey that had to give the okay.
Right.
And he shook my hand and said, "Congrats, welcome. Don't F it up." that was the short advice from Berkey, but yeah, that was
like Berkey. I do believe you.
Yeah, that was my start in pro hockey, and it was awesome. You would remember Dallas Aikens was the head coach at that time. Really good teams, went to the Calder Cup finals, lost to the best professional team at that level I've ever seen, which was John Cooper's Norfolk Admirals. I mean, I think they went on a 28-game winning streak at the end of the year.
Crazy.
And they were really tough to beat, and Toronto lost to them in Toronto to win the Calder Cup. But that's part of the dream of being a broadcaster as well, is being able to capture those moments, even though it wasn't for the Toronto fans, wasn't great. But I enjoyed my time, and that opened the door to things to come after that for sure.
How many years for the Marlies?
It was 2 full seasons as play-by-play, but really 3 because I kind of went back and forth. That was still a time when Joe Bowen was doing radio and TV. Mm-hmm. So I got jockeyed up, gave me my break to get into the NHL, but was still required to do Marlies TV games and everything, which was great, and still worked. Part of my role there was community stuff, and I loved all that. So it was. So
yeah, it's crazy. Like how if it's not a national game, Bowen would do the TV, and if Bowen's not doing radio because he's doing TV, then you get called up to do radio, and then someone else will do the Marlies. Like it's so funny when you're in this broadcast room, it's so small, and the littlest move at the top that opens this hole here, and then that guy goes there, then this one over there, then I gotta get this job over here, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, and we would I love the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you because we have a friendship outside of just being broadcasters. But I'm sure you would relate as well. Like it's relationships that you build also. And, out of school, I threw resumes all over the country, and it was coming out of the lockout at that time. And Leafs TV, part of MLSC, was on the incline. John Shannon was running it, but they needed staff because they weren't doing anything during the lockout for the most part.
Okay.
Got in there. Again, doing anything behind the scenes possible, but that group of people, John Shannon that hired me, Chris Clark, other people within, like Brian Duff was hosting, who's now at the Sabres. They all took me under their wing. I was able to prove to them that I wanted to be in the business, those were the same people for the most part that helped get me back with the Marlies.
Crazy.
Because it was under the same umbrella. So you never know whom is going to help you on your path. And I've been fortunate, thankful that there's been a lot of people that have helped.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, it's such a crazy timing thing. You never know where that opportunity is. And, you know, I've related a bunch of examples in my career similarly. It's like, oh, you volunteered at this thing and that guy happened to be there and you shook hands. And then a week later he needed a guy. You're like, shit, if I didn't go to that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd still be in Penticton eating peaches. Who knows?
But Penticton's awesome too. And
it was good. Yeah.
And I love that. I love, you know, speaking about backgrounds, I don't want it to be all about me, but I appreciate that. Okay, we all do this because we love it in some form and we're passionate about it. But it's not the grind of a regular job, but there is a grind in there somewhere, and you have to be willing to move up the ranks
and move around.
And that's part of it. That's it's a dream job. There's some challenges, but I appreciate your background too that I knew before already.
Okay, so when do you move to Vancouver? I imagine that's the next chapter in the book.
Yeah, from Toronto, it was 1 season with the Leafs. Youngest play-by-play guy in the league at 28.
Jeez.
But that doesn't necessarily mean you're gift wrapped a job at the end of that.
No,
right? So
sure, yeah.
We both knew it was fantastic being part of that.
You're close to home. That's great.
Yeah,
but again, it's kind of.
I wouldn't have expected that would be the place to start, but
right.
It was, to your point, circumstance with Joe Bowen, and they gave me a chance. They gave me a break, and that was huge for learning the skill, developing a style, and getting my name out there. And I didn't know what the off season was going to look like. I was pretty sure that Joe was coming back to radio. So that wasn't a total surprise, but that did kind of leave me looking. And wouldn't you know it, it was Rick Ball
going
to Calgary that gave me the chance to go to Vancouver.
Rick's amazing, and I
love the man.
So talented, so funny, just a natural entertainer. At one point when I was living in BC, he was doing the morning show and like Lions play-by-play.
He's doing a lot.
And then hockey night. Do hockey, and then, I'm going to do this hockey night game. And you're just like, this guy can do anything. And as we found out on the road, he can, Rockets, of course, for that. And then, he can play piano. He can be do sing-alongs. Like, the guy is just an absolute entertainer. And so Rick coming to the play-by-play job in Calgary to be the Sportsnet play-by-play guy for the Flames many moons ago opens a job on the West Coast. And you've, to this point, your entire career has been Ontario.
Yeah. Yes. So
TSN 1050, I want to say
1040. Close.
1040, excuse me.
Yeah, no, you're good.
50's true.
It doesn't exist anymore anyway. So
neither.
that's the story for another day, maybe.
Well, I think you were there when that happened. I do want to ask about it, but let's first get, how do you get to Vancouver?
Well, it was amazing. You go the whole summer, recently married, so you want to take care of things, and you're preparing yourself to, hey, maybe go back to the American League. Do I get out of the business if it doesn't work? Right. Where do I move to keep this going? Like, I was confident that 1 year in the NHL if I'm smart about it, I should be able to turn that into another gig.
Yeah.
And I was close on a few things, didn't come to pass, and Vancouver was there. And I will never forget this. I was working still with the Leafs, working the Leafs golf tournament.
Okay.
So that's September.
It's getting late.
10th.
Everyone showed up. It's camp.
That day, I got the green light for the Vancouver job. So that's how late. Now, everyone here would be on the other end of it, of when Rick came in.
Yeah.
So it would have been just as quick for him.
For sure.
And just as close to the season.
Not unlike last summer.
Yeah, it was there's a little bit more breathing room, but you know what? I'm not complaining. It's crazy how fast things can happen. You have to be
nimble, right? It's not like you're not going to get 2 months to mull over the option.
It was awesome.
We're pulling the trigger today. And we got to start, moving. Yep.
I landed in Vancouver on a Wednesday, woke up, Dave Tomlinson, my color partner, picked me up, drove me to Penticton to do Unstars the next day. Yeah. And then a week later, we're in Whistler doing training camp. And I'm like, where am I? This is
the same country as Toronto.
This is crazy. And the rest is history. Yeah. I've followed in Rick's footsteps in Vancouver and loved my time out there. almost 8 years total.
Yeah.
In Van. And again, you learn something from every place you've been. Learned a lot there. Some tough lessons to swallow, but
like what?
All for the better. Adjusting to losing the broadcast rights along the way.
Yeah.
And then ultimately having the station shut down.
Big shout out to our great partners at Bet365. Always makes things spicier. Best app out there. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app. Use the code NATION when you do at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Hey guys, it's Pinder. All throughout the year, Village Honda brings you the Pinder Report for the latest in what's happening in the sports world and maybe the odd crocodile and snake. But today we are at your dealership for life in the Northwest Auto Mall. Let's see what's happening at Village Honda. A reminder, if you're selling your vehicle, Village Honda, your dealership for life, wants to pay you. 24 hours, cash in your hand. You don't even have to buy a new one here, although I think you probably should. Village Honda, your dealership for life, online at villagehonda.com and in the Northwest Auto Mall. You never need a lawyer until you need a lawyer, and then you need McLeod Law. They are the Calgary law firm. Calgarians, people that understand how our city works. So no matter what your legal needs are, it's simple. McLeod-law.com or hit socials at McLeod Law LLP. Peter Klein, you know him as the personal injury guy. Well, he's also your long-term disability insurance claim guy. Make sure you check in with him if you've got an issue collecting for the benefits you've paid for. Shane King, a partner in the Litigation and Dispute Resolution Group. Employee rights, if you've been terminated, make sure you're being treated as the law requires. Shane, always using practical and easy language, no legal mumbo jumbo. It's the Calgary law firm, and the only one you need to know whenever you need a lawyer, it's McLeod Law. Let's get back to another summer edition of Barn Burner. Yeah, so Sportsnet ends up getting the radio rights, and that they basically opened a station 650 and needed a reason for people to tune in because 1040 was a giant. I mean, this was the biggest. I would say it was the second best sports station in the country because, you know, you had one in Toronto that I thought was the best. And then it was an incredible high reputation. Guys that have written for papers 15, 20 years, guys that hosted highlight shows forever. Like it was a who's who of sports personalities in Western Canada that were on that station. And then, okay, well, Sportsnet's going to get a competing station. They get the rights. And so all of a sudden like, whoa, okay, like how does life after rights works? Because in some markets, that's great. You can be a little more critical of the team probably. And, you know, open the phone lines. If the team's not great at the time, it can almost be a ratings win in a weird way. But it may have been the beginning of the end for that station.
Well, funny enough, and I won't go too deep into it, but like you said, if you had asked us the moment we realized that the Canucks games were going out of the building, there was some despair, there was some stress, but what followed was actually beefing up the lineup, and we were solid, and the numbers were showing it. However, that really was not the end all be all. It was a decision, I think, that probably had been made well before, that there were going to be some changes coming, to which none of us on air, nobody in the station knew. But one day it was our morning show that was on the air, and they came back from break to black silence, and their mics wouldn't turn on. And then Green Day played, and that was it. We were all done.
30-minute notice, clear out your desks, security staff here. That was the end of one of the great sports talk stations in our country.
It's tough because there's so many good people in our business, in our industry. No one in Vancouver obviously would have wanted that. A lot of people within the company wouldn't have wanted that, but it was a decision made higher up. And as we find out now, many years later, radio has become at times very fickle and out of a lot of people's control within the market they live in. So that was my first world experience to it. And COVID out there as well was another big test of the metal. But those are things I look back, and it's not my favorite time, but you do take life lessons from it. And there's nothing you can do to change either of those events.
Yeah.
And I appreciate having learned different things and how to cope and to better be prepared in some circumstances, and also reflecting on the people, which again, most broadcasters would tell you that it's the people you work with that are fantastic, right? And we certainly had that there, and it's some of them now, like Sakaris and Price, are under the Nation Network window as well. So it's been great to see others take that and adapt and succeed. And I remain thankful for all of my experiences, even though those ones were tough at the time.
I remember exactly where I was when that station closed. And it was a moment that, like, if you were in sports talk in the country, you're like, if that station's not safe, nobody's safe. Ratings were strong. They were outrating the Sportsnet station. Great personalities. Something happened in that market. You went to those people because they were the best. And in a boardroom in Toronto, likely a decision was made that they were going to close that station down. You're like, if that station, if it can happen to them, do not be stupid enough to think that anyone else is safe. And I just remember that was a big watershed moment in my career of being like, we are on very, very borrowed time on radio. Just that simple. If that station could be taken down, anyone can at any moment.
It was certainly a dark cloud, and it was hurtful to a lot of people, but I think some expected immediate doom elsewhere or maybe nationwide, and that hasn't happened. So you appreciate the success stories like here in Calgary.
Mm-hmm. What was it, like Winnipeg, Ottawa, Hamilton,
yes, it was
Vancouver, and one more?
Well, it was Winnipeg, Hamilton, and Vancouver in one sweep.
Yeah.
But like Ottawa's a good example. They're still going strong.
Okay, good.
Montreal, here in Calgary. So you never know what the future holds necessarily in broadcasting. It is, again, it's a dream gig. There's some challenges, but I do appreciate, in fact, I love and respect the people that still bring it each and every day. And that sometimes in the face of adversity like that, but there's still success stories. So
you're being paid by TSN, the station gets shut down, you're still around. Is this sort of when they start ramping up your Hockey Canada profile, because they're rights holders for World Championships, U18s, Halinka, there's all kinds of World Juniors. Like there's a lot of international hockey that TSN are the rights holders for.
Well, I was blessed pretty early on in Vancouver, actually, to be put on the World Junior stage. So that happened fairly quickly into my Vancouver run, and we had a good stretch. I think it was 6 tournaments.
Nice.
That we did. Last one I worked.
Can you remember the cities?
Yeah. So Helsinki was the first one. That was Kasperi Kapanen, scored in overtime.
Okay.
Freezing cold in Finland, and the Finns were streaking. I'll never forget that.
Well, it was like the country of 4 million people.
Minus 50,
winning.
and you open the rink doors and you go snake your way back. It was not far to downtown, and the closer you got to downtown, it was like blue everywhere, Suomi chants, and then it was streakers, the Finns streaking. I'm like,
minus 50.
Are you kidding me, man? With these, I'm trying to keep my ears warm. Never mind below. So it was, it was Finland, Russia in that final. So you can imagine Russia scored with seconds remaining to get it to OT.
Those are neighboring countries too.
Yeah. And it's
more tense than people would think.
Yes, very intense. So that was, we know Canada, Russia, we know Canada, USA, but that was right up there. Then it was Toronto, Montreal.
Okay.
And that was the crazy shootout one.
Yeah.
With Canada, USA. And then there was Buffalo.
Who was the American? Was it
outdoor game? That was Charlie McAvoy and Troy Terry. Yeah, he kept coming back.
Yeah.
Buffalo outdoor game. That was unreal at Bill Stadium.
I heard that
was awesome.
Because didn't the Canadians get eliminated in dramatic fashion before the finals, like semis or somewhere before that? I want to say they didn't make the final. I could be wrong.
In that tournament?
Yeah.
Well, that was the one they went to. That was the one that Steenbergen scored the eventual winner. He didn't have a goal in the tournament.
Okay.
So that was
that's not the year I'm thinking.
Yeah. But, that was Finland. Yeah. Finland, the Canadians were out.
So it was Finland.
That was the
USA
first one. It
final?
was Mitch Marner and Braden Point,
Yeah.
and they were eliminated
'Cause
in the quarters.
I just remember seeing the TSN panel doing the finals games, and Canada had been eliminated. I'm pretty sure it was Buffalo. And it was like, oh my goodness, Gord Miller has not had enough sleep. And like James Duthie, I think there's no voice. I'm like, this man is working through a serious hangover. And I give him credit. I've done that too. But I was like, fellas might have had a night the night before. And I didn't, no one said anything. I'm just like, I watched that and I'm like, I know exactly what that man's going through. You don't need to out him, but
Well,
I think I knew what happened that night.
well, radio was in a slightly different group than TV. But what I remember from that, I remember from the Helsinki tournament was like Canada had some names on that roster, and they couldn't get it done. But they had, unfortunately, they weren't able to leave right away.
Oh, you got to hang
Like
out.
they had booked everything up, and they couldn't get the flights, and so not only did they get eliminated and have to deal with the rest of the country and all of the press and scrutiny, then they had to hang around at the tournament, which
Is one thing to do.
they weren't staying there for the gold medal, but I remember feeling for the guys, because that was not that was the last place they wanted to be, was still there.
Okay.
But obviously calling, so the Buffalo one was Canada won gold.
Okay, so I was off on my year.
That was
That's fine.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we all know our passport, so calling a Canadian gold is right up there. Like that's
Oh hell yeah,
extremely exciting, and very honored to be able to speak to a country at that point. But I won't that's the tip of the iceberg, that's the top of the mountain. But like that experience in Finland with the Finns winning, I don't know if enough attention goes to other countries winning, because it's still a really cool experience and a big deal. And then the last
Helsinki, Toronto, Montreal, Buffalo.
2020 was 2019 was Vancouver.
Okay, man.
And that was the Americans that were strong, but lost to the Finns, won it again with Capo Caco.
Okay.
And then the Americans had Hughes on that blue line. And then it was 2020, Czech Republic, Canada back on top of the world. That was another awesome experience. We were making our way down. That was the TSN camera, if you remember that.
Okay.
Puck goes off the camera. Kevin Ball was on that team, I believe. And anyway, making my way down after we sign off from the booth, because we had to go do the ice, or I had to go do the ice level interviews, which is awesome. You just want to be a part of that and catch guys in the raw emotion, right?
Yeah.
Team Canada had left their phones in the room. That was part of their deal, is that no phones. Everyone had to turn them off each time in the rink.
Yeah.
Well, on returnee, Bear was ripping back to the room to get his phone to take pictures of the gold medal celebration on the ice. And I'm coming around the corner as he's going there. And like, they call him Bear for a reason. He's a big
boy.
man.
Yeah.
And he narrowly avoided taking my life. it was like, I came around and like, look at this beak. It could have been busted in a second. And he kind of softened the blow, but like, that was one of my,
you go flying?
That was one of my funny moments of like, along the way. I don't know if it'll end up I don't know if I have enough to make a book or anything, but that was one of my funny moments. Just a random takeaway, 2020, getting steamrolled by Bear on the way to the ice.
Everyone's so happy winning gold. And
just
steamroll.
Could not wait. And I'm trying to get there to make our time to get interviews on the ice. And then it finished with Edmonton in the bubble. I didn't go. We were expecting our third child, and graciously was allowed to work at remote. So switched duties. I ended up hosting. Blake Price ended up doing play-by-play.
Oh, nice.
And just the whole situation, right? You check in, you get tested every day. You can't leave. If you leave, you're not coming back, and all of that. Well, having a baby on the way.
No,
you don't win. I wasn't going to win many points, and I wanted to enjoy the birth of our son. And so thankfully, and that was it. That was the last one we did. And world championships along the way too. But very just thankful. Those are really great experiences. It's something else to see. Like I watched Backlund win gold with Sweden.
Wow.
And it wasn't in Sweden, but to see the celebration in Stockholm, again, something hockey fans, not everybody. It is an incredibly big deal winning the world championship for European countries. And we met people who took 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks off every year. That was their vacation. And they would
Just go watch
travel
World
to
Championships.
wherever the Worlds were being hosted. And then you get the crazy Latvians that fall asleep
Sleep.
outside the rink when you leave.
Jack's buddies are falling asleep during Stampede. Weird. Yeah, same thing.
And then they're there in the morning when you show up. We're like,
Oh,
hey,
wow.
I recognize that guy.
Still
He
here.
just slept on the grass.
They're nuts.
And the Finns.
Yeah.
And the
Finns can put it
Norwegians.
down.
I mean, the Finns take over there. It's incredible. They bought out a bar for the entire tournament one time. It was the Finnish embassy.
That's unbelievable. I think that's the greatest gig around. I always talk to Aaron Vickers, who does
Vic.
FC hockey, and he covers that. I'm like, oh man, there's no better gig because it's a long tournament. You get some time to stretch out. It's not like crazy travel. You usually got one hub or two. Get some days off between games. Everyone likes to have a good time. You're usually in a great city. The weather's getting good over there. Like,
well, we were ripping out
incredible international cities.
It is incredible. We were ripping out 3 games a day. So I
different for you.
We were
Yeah,
actually
sure.
putting in a shift, but I've never experienced anything like it. It was even in the places that you think, okay, Kosice, Slovakia, what does that look like? You learn to love it by the time, like, it's just such a different feel.
Yeah.
That was I remember the one game the Canadians beat Slovakia in overtime, and they started throwing pennies at the Canadians. Like, where else do you find that
Latvia
anymore?
too. That'd have been Riga.
So anyway, it's just, yeah, it was a special. Not everybody gets the opportunity to work those, and I don't take a single game for granted, but those experiences in particular, like, you build towards working a championship, and that is such an important experience for a broadcaster to learn how to do that. And then, you're speaking to a country too. I know some of the world championship games, Slovenia is not necessarily outside of the jerseys, and Anze Kopitar are not necessarily a big draw.
Who's the second best Slovenian?
Yeah, that's right. But for us, it was a big game every game, and you peak at the end. So I was thankful, very thankful to have some of those opportunities, and
that's so cool.
It's been a lot of fun.
You know what? It's the way you talk about it is amazing, because it's like you have a duty to the viewer, right? It's not about John Abbott. It's not even about the team. It's about, this is an historic moment that is going to be cherished and remembered by potentially millions of people, that you have a responsibility to them to do it justice and to make sure that it's done properly. Like, that onus you've placed on yourself. Can you sort of elaborate on that? Because I think that's, like, a lot of great broadcasters have that. The audience is who their master is.
Well, I appreciate you understanding that and knowing what it's like to address people that way. An example outside of, obviously when it's Canada doing well in a tournament, you can ride that wave, and that's what everyone's interested in. Great Britain qualified for the World Championships, and everyone expected they would be out and relegated.
Yeah.
They beat the relegation against France one year, and they did it in like crazy fashion. And so that is a feel-good story in itself. And are there people from the UK that are watching? Yeah, there'd be some, but it's the story that is going to live on and for the rest of the tournaments, which they're back in again. And so people will be going back to that time as part of their story. You want to capture that well. And when it comes to people watching, so many can't get there. Whether it's Flames game, maybe you get to a few a year. If it's the World Championship, that's a real lofty goal. That's like a boys' trip or something bigger than that. You want to soak it in and bring that to everyone back. And, it's not lost to me, especially in Calgary. A lot of times, no matter what, and you and I have done a lot of different jobs in our lives, like that's a break from the day, is pulling up a chair and watching the Flames games. So it better be fun, it better feel like a break, and it better be entertaining.
Yeah.
And, I'm very lucky here in Calgary to work with the people that I do that make it easy for me to feel comfortable. But yeah, that's not lost. It's trying to take all the things we're fortunate enough to see on a daily basis and experience, try to tell some good stories, and hopefully the game speaks for itself. That's the best case scenario, but it's trying to bring the things that other people don't get to experience to them.
you guys had to deal with a pretty major tragedy this year and something that nobody saw coming, and it couldn't have been easy. Tell us about the circumstances that led to a moment you probably never expected to have.
Yeah, Millsy. You know, you look back at this year past, and it was the Gaudreau family, first of all, trying to pay tribute as best as we can in our small way to Johnny and Matthew and the Gaudreau family, and doing that in Calgary and then doing that in Columbus. And Ryan Leslie was spectacular in both of those games. I don't know how he did it. And then, yeah, Millsy, it's one of those, you don't forget where you are when you get that kind of news. And it was right after the morning skate in San Jose. And we loved him. We loved him so much. It was, you know, he'd been doing this for such a long time at such a great level. He'd worked with a lot of other people too. So it's not like it was, you know, our group from Calgary was exclusive. Everybody loved Millsy, and he just had a way, you know, he was always up to something. He was always ready to jab you a little bit, but it was fine when somebody was giving it back to him, always smiling, always laughing. And, you know, as tough as this year was, especially at the finish, you know, thankful we had the time with him without knowing how it was going to go, obviously. And I like to think that, you know, we were great together as a group. And that's one of the best takeaways, is just how much fun we had on the air and off the air. Like, it's important that if you can be, you're a group that loves each other, because it's going to come through on the air, and at least in our format. And again, being able to connect with people at home, everything you saw was genuine. And yeah, you get to know people on the road. You know, you're spending a lot of time at different times of the year on road trips. You're seeing the group you're with more than your family at that point. Sometimes in the month, you're seeing them more. So you get to know people. And for Greg, you just think of his family, his wife. He was setting himself up for life after hockey and broadcasting, and he was just about there. And he had kids and grandkids, and it just yeah, that still will be really tough. We love Greg, and, you know, we were thankful that we got to share him for a little bit. He loved doing the Flames games. He loved Calgary. And, you know, I saw lots of other people. John Bartlett had a tribute through the playoffs. Every game he had Millsy with him, and we will too. Yeah, that was a really tough end of the year. And at the same time, I'm glad. Kudos to the Sharks guys, who did an incredible job.
Yeah.
Drew Remenda and Randy Hahn.
Yeah.
We didn't know what way that was going to go. Credit to Sportsnet for allowing us the opportunity to express ourselves, both in that game by not working, and in the following game in Anaheim, being able to pay tribute to Millsy. Those aren't just automatic, and to do it right requires a lot of work and attention. So I credit our group a lot in front of the camera and behind the scenes to make that happen. And I'm glad we had the chance to, you know, we knew we were going to miss the wake, unfortunately, because of the makeup game in LA. So that game day, we were watching it the morning of the game, and then wanted to be there but couldn't. And so our moment in Anaheim was very meaningful to everybody, to be able to give pay our respect to Greg.
Appreciate you sharing that. That's obviously something that's not easy. And, you know, we talk about all of a sudden all these life experiences you run through, and, you know, all these experiences that you've been through form the person you are, and I guess prepare you for the next unexpected thing that's coming your way. You guys did a great job with that, and you paid tribute as eloquently as I could have imagined. And you nailed it on Ryan Leslie with the Gaudreau broadcast. I mean, there's a lot on your plate for first year in Calgary, my man.
Well, you know what? On that one, it's a little easier to talk about. Again, I go back to Ryan, and like both those games were very important to us as Flames broadcast group, and we knew how important they were to everybody. I can still remember Rasmus scoring that goal too in Calgary. Like that was a hair-raising goosebumps moment.
Gee coming out on the ice.
Oh, it was just unbelievable. I'll never forget that. But to Ryan's credit, you know, he and I were speaking a lot about how to properly handle this.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I had to play a part in it, without being here during the Johnny years, I didn't feel like it was appropriate to go too far. Not because it didn't mean something to me, and Ryan stepped up and said, I got this. Like I'll carry a bunch of how things go because I want to, and that's probably how it should go. So credit to, you know, those are good teammates, right? And you don't want to put anybody in a bad position, but you also, for me, it's being real. I could be real with what I said before the puck drop. I could be real and reflecting from the person that I knew, but I was not here during that time. I wasn't here when he got drafted. I wasn't here when he was a rookie and had those big moments. So you can't pretend, you know.
You lean on your teammate.
That's right. So yeah, a little behind the scenes there. Like that was what you saw on the screen from Ryan was incredible, but equally so in the background.
1 year, crazy. Well, it's summer, and that means it's air conditioner season. Yes, we don't need that in the winter, but it does get hot here, Calgary, in the summer. And here's the deal from our good friends at Crystal Waters right now. 10% off a brand new air conditioner and a year of free preventive maintenance. Crystal Waters is your crystal clear choice for all things residential plumbing, heating, cooling services. We're talking 23 years of experience and over 30,000 projects completed. It's your clear choice for sure. Here's how you get a hold of them. 403-219-4100. Head to their website, crystalclearcalgary.com. Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating is your crystal clear choice for home comfort. It's not easy to please everyone, but I know one place that does. That's Greta. Greta Bar in Calgary on 10th Ave is the place to be, whether it's live music, hundreds of arcade games. We're also talking global street food, happy hours, industry days, corporate parties. It's the one-stop shop for all things fun, young or old, 18 plus. You got to go to Greta Bar. For more information and all the good times, head to gretabar.com. Super proud to have partnered with Origin Brewing, who make our two delicious beers. Barnburner Blonde, great in the summer, crushable beer, favorite for everyone, crowd pleaser to be sure. And if you like something a little hoppier, how about the Afterburner Pale Ale? They've also got their summer drinks going, that hard iced tea, hard seltzers. They've got the Gosas, famous beers they've been making for a long time, homegrown lager. They've got the Rockyford Raspberry, all kinds of incredible beers. Check it all out at originbrewing.ca, and you can stop in at their two locations, 60 Spruce Park Drive in Strathmore, and their new location in Calgary, the OC, Origin Calgary. You can find it at 943 28th Street Northeast. They've also opened O-Dogs, a new menu there for you to get your hot dog on. Chili, poutine, however you like your dog, they got it at O-Dogs. Check out Origin at your local liquor store or the Strathmore and Calgary locations. Outdoor.dental is dentistry with no drills, no needles, and no stress. Yeah, it's one of the most cutting-edge dentistry places around. But on top of that, they have the Soleil laser, which helps with dentistry, but also a snoring treatment. 2 pain-free 15-minute sessions, and you can tighten the soft palate in the back of your throat, which leads to snoring and hopefully reduce your snoring significantly. It's worked for me a ton. I'd recommend you do it as well. And if you've got extended health benefits, might be covered for most of that as well. Sleep better. Get a person next to you can sleep better. It's a win for everyone. Check in with Dr. J at outdoor.dental for all your dentistry and snoring cure needs. Back to the show. I want to ask you about the team. Lots going on. The Rasmus Anderson thing is obviously at this point, pull back the curtain. We're recording here mid-July. Don't know when this is going to run, but it's not come to a conclusion as of yet. That seems like the biggest offseason storyline, but more big picture. I just want to ask you, this is a team that missed the playoffs by 0 points. They lost on a tie break. I think the Dome Boys said that one, Jack. They missed playoffs by 0 points. They're like, shit, they did. That's right. And yet, it's also a team that pundits for a while have said, look, on paper, maybe this isn't the most talented group. And I think everyone would be in agreement that the sum of the parts was greater than the individual pieces added up last year. There was a great vibe about the team. You could tell they cared for each other. They had so many incredible comebacks. They probably did as good as they could have done with that group. And it was incredible that they got to 96 points. So when you're looking big picture, what is Craig Conroy trying to sift through here in terms of, I don't have a great young center that could be a superstar in this league. I need to get higher in the draft. Or B, geez, if we could just add 20 goals to this lineup, we're a playoff team. I don't know that I see many teams that are really, it feels like they're very close to the edges rather than, something else.
It is crazy. It doesn't necessarily look like there's a lot at play, but I think there is in a lot of different situations and scenarios. And I mean, you can carve it up in a lot of different fashions. You look at the start to last year and how that propelled them out
5-0
unexpectedly. Yes, and points in the first 6. And we don't know, but we know the start of this season is going to require max effort to try and repeat something like that now that we've had a peek at the schedule. But if they're able to be world beaters again, that's one way to go about your business, and it makes decision-making a little bit easier at that point.
Sure.
Where are they at the trade deadline? That's going to be a big question. What direction does the team take them in? Maybe that's a question. I think as long as the team is competitive, they're going to try and harness that.
Right.
If the team slips too far behind, does that change a bit of the mindset and push it more to the future? Perhaps. Question marks with positions. Dustin Wolf is going to start
a lot of
hockey games.
I hope.
And he looked incredible last year.
Yeah.
Is he able to steal you enough working twice as much? He might be the guy.
Is he better? Is he same? Is it one of those goalie things where, it's volatile and some great years are followed by less than great years? It's goalie.
Yeah. You don't really know. I like his attitude though.
Yeah.
He wants to play. Yeah. He knows he's in a position now to play. He's
talking about being better and adjustments he needs to make.
And he's been here all summer. I love that too.
He's around a Stampede, flirting with Shania Twain. Love to see it.
Not many of us get to do that.
No, I'm a little jealous.
I like that he's in town and working on the physical side of his game, because unless you're Mika Kiprasov, who is outer worldly with how he was able to play that much season after season after season. And unless he has a rigorous stretching routine like Mika did somehow that kept him limber for all those, it's going to take putting the time in physically in the off season to make sure you're ready to start that amount of games. So I like that. You look at the 4 teams that finished below Calgary in the division. I'm unsure about all of them. I think Calgary could be there again.
Should all be better, but I don't know that any of them are playoff teams.
The Central, I think the Central is going to be where it gets tougher. So, Vancouver, Anaheim, Seattle, and San Jose. I think you're still going to pick up points against those teams.
Yeah, they're going to be better.
They're going to be better.
But they're still not necessarily playoff teams. And Vancouver's an interesting debate because everything went off the rails.
Snap right back, maybe.
That's the wild card for me. But I look at Anaheim, I'm like, not quite yet. I look at San Jose, I'm like, boy, that's a really good, but it's young team. They're not there yet. And Seattle's like, you just kind of
another don't know.
Yeah.
So if you had to, before the puck drops on the season, you're probably looking at the Central going, that's going to be.
Are they taking 2 wild cards?
Head-to-head here.
Yeah.
So I think Calgary will be in the fight. I am interested to see how positions shake out. Is Adam Klapka going to get more opportunity?
Mm-hmm.
Is Sharangovich going to score goals?
Yeah. He showed us a bit of everything last year, didn't he?
What are the trades going to be like?
And
Are
what do you
they-
get back if you move Rasmus? Right. If you have him, you know what it looks like. But if he is moved, and it seems like it's the final year of his deal, and they're not on the same page on what an extension should look like. He's been a great Flame. They've enjoyed having him here.
Yep.
Parting of ways at the end of the year at the latest, but probably before then it happens. Are you getting straight futures back with your picks, or is it like, hey, we got a roster player that might help? Like, okay, well, that changes how I feel about a group.
Right. I mean, and there's still questions down the middle as well. So it will be intriguing to follow all these little mini storylines that really add up to a big story, potentially where the team finishes this year and how they're moving forward in years to come, heading to the new building.
Yeah.
But they've given guys opportunity. Frost, for example, will have an opportunity to try and prove that he's a mainstay fit and be rewarded in a couple of years with maybe a bigger contract. But it's up to those guys that have the opportunity to take it. And, Zary will be another one, regardless of what gets done with him. A guy that unfortunately has not played a full NHL season yet.
Needs to be healthy. Yeah.
If he's healthy, there's another box to check. What can he do for you over the full 82? So it's a very intriguing season. And if it has as much drama and excitement as last year, sign me up. That was a fantastic fight to the finish. Would have been amazing had they got in.
Was it 6 in a row they went down the stretch, or 5 or 6? Like it was crazy. We kept doing the math, like, they can't get to 93. Like they're just not going to run the table. And they run an absolute heater.
And some of their hardest road trips, like I can recall Dan Vladar starting in Washington, and that was a daunting trip, and they did just fine.
I think of that game in Colorado. Fourth line stole.
Yeah.
That was it Klapka that really took that one over? I'm trying to remember. Lomberg, he came up with goals.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be the beginning of Klapka. Do you see him as absolutely cemented in fourth line banger? Or are you like, hey, I could see a little top 9 action here?
You're reading my mind here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the right side, just my opinion, but it could be more fluid than maybe they even want it to be, depending on who's going. But I think the right side is.
So you got Coronado's a righty.
To me,
Klapka's a righty, and everyone else is lefties playing the right, whether that's Coleman or Sharangovich or a Farabee or someone like that. Like they really only have 2 right-hand shot right wingers.
I wouldn't mind from time to time seeing Klapka up. I wouldn't. I like his size. He seemed like he put it together in the last quarter of the season as to how he needs to play in this league. And the Flames don't have a ton of size up front. So if he can play that role with some authority and some offense, I don't mind seeing him up there. But that also means someone else is jockeying down, which is the double-edged sword there, because it might mean perhaps underperforming. It could be a matchup thing, but it'll be the right side for sure. Will be a spot of interest for me, and down the middle, what they're able to do.
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, I love what they're building in the prospect cupboard, but a lot of those guys aren't going to pan out. You hope that you can just mine a few really, really good NHLers every year in the draft. They've had a really good run there. The new building kind of looms, but I don't know. Like I always wonder this summer if Rasmus is that first domino. It's like, okay, well, he was a veteran and his contract was almost up, and you can look around. There's other veterans whose contracts are coming up in the next year or two. It's like, well, if they're not good enough and he's gone, is this guy next? And that guy, and what feels like, man, they really aren't being aggressive in a rebuild. We might be here in a year from now, be like, this is the youngest team in the NHL. It happens quick when it happens.
Yeah, right. And everybody lived through that in some degree, just
2 years ago.
Getting to this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What I took from surveying the landscape was, kudos to Craig Conroy, who had his plate full and had to do something about it. Did the best he could and surprised some of us as well with moves like Kevin Ball. It turned out to be fantastic and had to be a little patient there with Markstrom. But I think trying not to end up in the same situation seems to be the way I read it. So I think
when you say same situation, you're talking about where the team finishes or like contractually with guys?
With a case like Anderson.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to work with them, but also not necessarily having a single team to work with. Right. So I think it is delicate. I imagine it will get done. Will it change what happens next? Potentially, but I appreciate what the guys said last year. I made it in time for camp. That was my goal, is to get here for camp.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm a little bit more all ears. Well, I'm a lot more all ears, but more ears than some, because I was taking it all in pretty fresh. Michael Backlund, Nazem Kadri, Blake Coleman, all doubling down on the belief in the room, wanting to be there, and enough with the questions about who wants to leave. This is the group that wants to stay. Now, can things change? They can always change. But I think at the very least, they have a core group of guys that helped lead them within a whisker of a playoff spot last year.
Mhm.
I don't see the mentality changing at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, even if Rasmus is potentially traded before the puck drops, I don't think that necessarily means conveyor belt.
I'd agree. Yeah, I think those guys want to be here, and those guys aren't spending any time thinking about not being good. If it plays out that way, sure. But, they're thinking, how do we find one more point to get to 97? Because that's playoffs. You've been a year in. You've obviously dealt with Ryan Huska a fair amount. He's in the final year of his deal, so we're led to believe. What's it like watching Ryan hone his craft and, having been around the league? Like, you've seen a lot of coaches. How would you compare and contrast Coach Huska to some of the other bench bosses?
Well, I have a ton of respect for the Flames organization. You can tell right away how classy it is. I don't think too many people would say anything to the contrary. First-class organization, love the work in the community. And to me, they set the bar that way with their management, their players, and it filters all the way down. So that stands out to me right away from being around a little bit. Just the immediate attention to the importance of that. And I circle all the way back to Ryan Huska. Like, what a great person to speak to on a daily basis. What a respect the way that he handles his business. Is thoughtful with us, even, I'm sure, when he's been asked the same question a lot of times, or when he doesn't feel like speaking, but nothing but great things to say about how he interacts with the media and with us. And I like the fact that he seems to be a coach that not only has his finger on the pulse of the room to the point where, okay, he knows the way he wants his team to play, but he put a lot of onus on the leadership group and allowed those players to have their place in the room. I don't compare Huska to Tortorella per se. Like, when Torts walks in the room, it's his.
My way or the highway.
Right? That's not to say I don't think Ryan Huska is a guy that takes any flack. Like, I think he expects you to play the way you're supposed to play, but he has the trust and the confidence in his leadership group to allow them to handle some things or have ideas come to fruition. And I think that means a lot with players
Today,
to have a voice,
player,
to see what they value be put into practice, or their takeaways, living it in real time. So I like the composure of Ryan Huska. I like his approach, and by all accounts, a little bit of a fresh take might have been needed in that room.
Yeah. And
it seems like they found the right guys. So, having spoken only to him since being in Calgary, nothing but respect for him.
Yeah. It's another storyline that probably would have been a bigger one 10 years ago. Like, if you went into the last year of your contract as a coach, it was like, oh, lame duck coach. But see it all the time now. Rick Tocchet avoided that, but there are some instances where that happens. And I think he's done a great job. I mean, I think, our gaming partner Bet365, like, they had the Flames at 80.5, 81.5 points. Like, when you overshoot your over under on points by 15 or 16, that's a good year. You've done it. You've overachieved, right?
And I'm imagining at this point last year, no one could have predicted even the playoffs being close.
No, 81 points ain't it? Like,
right? So
if that's what a logical, like, non-fan, like, that's just, we're just a sports book. We literally just balance money and set lines. Like, it's an unemotional position as there is. 81, 80.5, whatever. Like, yeah, they did way better than that.
And now they have some expectations
Yeah, it won't be that now.
in a different level.
Look at it now, see what it is.
But
Tie into the conversation.
whether it's Bet365 or the fan base, like they have a different expectation. They have a different outlook maybe as to what's possible now, I think. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think that is what keeps some of those veterans invested as well.
Okay, let's find the points.
Like Nazem Kadri had a terrific year. Huberdeau picked it up. Like those are guys that need that type of, I think they like the pressure of that type of a setting.
83.5, Jack.
Oh.
2 more points than last year. Damn it.
We just subtract that last portion of our conversation.
Snip that out. You know what? You're going to look really smart if they have 96 points again. Hopefully they win the tiebreak this time. Tell me about your family. This is obviously like you talk about your journey around and they're part of it, but like, man, that's, you don't always want to uproot and move. And these are big decisions and you hope that they're really long-term great fits, but you got to have great partners on this journey to do that.
Yeah. Wives are the all-stars and mine is no different. Our oldest is turning 9 in October. This is his 3rd province. So
wow.
we've been around, but at the same time, we didn't know what was happening in Vancouver was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We were very thankful to go back east and have that time with immediate family and be part of a broadcast covering Ottawa. That was fantastic. And those people are still real close with me. And so for that pocket, the kids were blessed to have both grandparents on both sides and
nice.
All the cousin time and everything. And, you get an opportunity and it's unexpected. I don't think anyone saw Rick leaving.
Yeah.
So you deal with it quickly, but, past experience plays a little bit into it. Okay. All 3 children were born in BC, so we didn't go out there with them, but we know what moving around is like a little bit. And this is, again, like whether it was Noodles or 3 or 4 of the guys that I knew here that were, lifelong buddies that ended up in Calgary, whether it was them, pretty much anyone I spoke to saying how great a place Calgary is for family. So to be able to be fortunate enough to get the job is one massive thing. A lot of people putting their trust and faith in me and vice versa, but having a great place to live, you can't discount that either. So it was a big transition, but man, we've loved it. It's just, there's so much to like here. And I'm not as much as it a big Canadian city. I like that there's a lot of community here. Yeah. And that stands out to me. And so does all of the gorgeous outdoor activities, like we're bushy-tailed newcomers trekking out to Johnston Canyon and,
sure, yeah,
and Lake Louise and
sure,
you name it. We're trying to accomplish all of it. Callaway Park. So we're hitting everything we can. And it's amazing. I would say here more than anywhere else we've been, with the exception of being closer to family in Ontario. Like, people are quick to try and help you adjust, help you assimilate. And man, the kindness we've experienced from people, whether it's neighbors or people around town or even our broadcast group, like it's been awesome. So super grateful to get the gig, number one, but yeah, it was really important to me that it was going to be a good place for a family, and it has been. It's been a quick year, and we're still kind of playing catch up. But yeah, 3 kids. You know what it's like.
I know what 2 is like.
Well,
3 is like.
Yeah,
maniac.
two came at once there, but yeah, 9, soon to be 9, 7, and 4. So the good side is they have a lot of time in front of them, and they've adjusted really well.
Amazing.
And we're in a great spot. So yeah, thanks for asking. And that, to us, this is I think we perhaps all take for granted, if we've lived in a single place for either all of our lives or most of our lives, what it feels like to be in that situation. But when you are moving around a little bit, you recognize pretty quickly what a good situation is. Sure. And we're happy that it's that way for us in Calgary.
Was thrilled to hear your name announced about a year ago. I guess it was a little less than a year ago, but always admired your work ethic and just, as good as a broadcaster, a better person. Excited to have you here in town. We're lucky to have you on the broadcasts, and let's hope year two, maybe a little less, ups and downs in terms of but keep up the great work on the broadcast. We always enjoy your work and love to hang out. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, Pinder. It was nice to reconnect with you, and too much talking about me. Next time we'll just stick to the hockey talk, but I appreciate you giving me a little chance. We need to do this
once. Yeah, we'll bring you into BS about, who's the seventh defense.
That's what I enjoy.
You got to get people to know the man first.
Unless I'm telling people about how I fell in a pool. I don't need to go chronologically through, but I appreciate giving me the chance, because I think immediately, again, you love the market, you love the fan base. I love going out and meeting people in the community and being part of that community. That's a big deal to me too, which is why we're here all summer also. We're not in the camp to just hockey season and out.
Yeah.
But I realized that not everybody necessarily knew everything about me. So nice catching up that way, unexpectedly. And nice to be back doing this with you.
Thanks, buddy.
Old times.
Enjoy the rest of your summer. We can't wait to get game one, the 8th, Vancouver. The first game of the year might have been the most entertaining last year when they come back from 4-1 overtime. It was wild. So we can't wait to get you back on the air. I'm sure there'll be some preseason as well, but thanks for coming in.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
See you, buddies.